if you wanted.
No, no, yeah, I got you. Like,
What's-
yeah, job security.
It's brown, so.
Yeah.
And if she wasn't driving, we can't cite her for driving with no proof of insurance. Because we didn't actually see her drive. But if she was driving, I mean, North 10 Mile and Lakefront,
And yet, Elias on the phone.
Lake Point. I'll see what she has to say. Yeah, there.
I'll get her signed in.
No, first. Okay. I'll conclude it. Good joke. Okay, yep, working. So, okay, I'll show you. I just turned it off.
I'm sorry to make you.
No, 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 yeah, but she's gonna come for a second. He came in and then disappeared. So, and I just closed it, but this is website. So there's still like that 30 minutes, 30-second delay.
Oh,
You want me to
okay.
turn it on again? I don't mind to give it
Oh,
out.
I trust you.
No, I mean, blame me. If you don't trust me on this.
Well, I didn't want to keep pushing buttons.
No,
You know,
no.
that thing's down there.
You're cool. You look like Jerry. Okay.
Okay, I hear it. I don't see it.
Okay, yep, it's gonna come 30 seconds delay.
Okay. I hear it. You hear the voices?
Oh, shit. Did you turn it off when he was here? I just say hi to him. Does it matter? I just said hi. It's
Yeah, yeah.
nothing
Please rise. Today is the 21st day in May in the year 2025. Driscoll Municipal Court is now in session with the Honorable Judge Ron Carlson presiding.
Please welcome to this, our May session. For many of you, it's the first time in court, or at least the first time in this court. Court procedures require certain steps and statements to be taken. In each case, when I call your name, please come to the podium. If it's your first time here, then I'm required to advise you of the nature of the charges against you, tell you the maximum possible penalty, not that that's what anyone's getting, and then to ask a few questions and establish on the record that you've read and understood your legal rights, and to see if you have any questions about your legal rights. If you have not had the opportunity to do so, so please take a look at those while you're waiting for your turn. As to the nature of the charges, normally I just read the name as opposed to the statutory definition that most people know what speeding is or trespass is. If you want the technical definition, I can read that for you. And I think the rest will be straightforward. First, I have, even though this is set for later, I have a request for a continuance. Court will call Nathaniel Douglas. Mr. Douglas?
Yes, you are.
Your matter is set for trial later this evening, and you're requesting a continuance.
Yes, I must have a phone right now, and I need to make phone calls. Make sure I'm on the ball, Judge. There's a little bit more to this than I can really say right now.
What would be the purpose of the continuance?
I just need to contact some people.
Witnesses or what?
Witnesses, no. Just I need some legal advice. I'm jumping into this, and I really don't know a lot about what I'm doing. I know it involved an officer, and we get along. We really did. But there's something a little bit more to it.
All right.
Yeah,
Well, I see you were just here in April. We are required to provide a trial within 90 days. And so we schedule them, and we only meet once a month. So we schedule this for tonight. I will grant, since you've had no other continuances, are you willing to waive that speedy trial and let that 90 days start over again as of today?
I'd like a speedy trial.
Well, you can't you can't ask for a continuance and ask for a speedy trial. Those things are contradictory. We're ready to have the trial.
More than what I actually know, Judge. I'm doing my best here. I just my phone broke, and I've had some trouble. I don't have a job right now, but I'm happy to be in Summit County. It's the best thing I can ever think of, being here. There's a little bit of trauma. I was a little bit traumatized, but I just me and the officers should get along. We really do. I can help them.
But you don't want to start the 90 days over again as of today, even though you're the one asking for the extension.
The speedy trial. Go ahead and give me a speedy trial. Is it going to be later on tonight?
Yes.
Oh, Your Honor, if there's any way I can do this,
If you waive speedy trial, I will continue this to next month, but I'm not going to let you both demand a speedy trial and ask for a postponement. That's contradictory.
yes, you're right, Your Honor. I just need to speak to somebody about this. That's it.
So are you waiving your speedy trial requirement? Start the 90-day requirement over again today.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm not procrastinating, Judge,
All right,
honestly.
I'll continue this till, what's our June date? June 19th?
June 18th.
June 18th. We'll see you back here June 18th at 5:30. We don't have any other schedules yet, right? At 5:30, June 18th, please see my court clerk. She'll give you a written reminder, so you have that with you.
I appreciate the continuance, Judge.
Anything else? Okay, that's fine. Just get your written reminder. Let me just note the file. We have a different pen.
Not working.
No. See if this one. Yeah, that works. There you go. Athena Lyons. If I pronounce your name correctly. The handwriting's hard to read, so I'm not sure what your name is.
Yeah, that's.
All right. Ma'am, you were summoned to court to answer allegations that you violated the model traffic code section 1409, no proof of insurance. You understand the charge? Maximum penalty is up to a $2,650 fine and 4 points on your driving record. It also has a minimum penalty set by the state legislature of not less than $500 unless mitigation is shown. Do you understand both the minimum and maximum? You were provided a written advisement of legal rights. Did you get a chance to read and review that? Do you have any questions about your legal rights? Do you think you understand them? Do you know what a trial is?
Yes.
And you understand you have a right to hire an attorney? I have paper that says simply that you're going to plead guilty to the charge. Is that what you want to do?
Yes.
All right. You understand by pleading guilty, you are giving up all the rights listed in the right sheet, which means there'll be no trial, there'll be no witnesses. The prosecutor will not have to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You're giving up your presumption of innocence and right to an attorney. Did anybody threaten you to get you to plead guilty? Did anybody promise you anything that's not been said in court? Is this your free and voluntary plea? And are you under the influence of anything that affects your ability to make a decision? Now we've covered all the required questions. How do you plead to the charge? Or accept your plea, find me freely, voluntarily, and knowingly made. You're entitled to make a statement and you're welcome to make a statement, but you're also not required to say anything further. Is there anything you'd like to tell me?
Just that this was a miscommunication with me and my dad. Didn't realize that my insurance had lapsed. I got it the next day and I have proof of that now.
I will consider getting the insurance the next day as mitigation and reduce the fine to $250. And the surcharge is 15. And I will waive the court costs. Or 25, I'll get them backwards. So it'll be 275. Can you pay that or do you need a payment plan? Please see my court clerk.
Your Honor.
You ready?
I don't know.
The next call, we believe, is an online.
Mr. Patrick?
I'm here.
Are you still waiting for your attorney?
I am.
Okay. We're gonna proceed to the next case right now.
No problem at all.
Thank you.
Michael Morris. Sir, you were summoned to court to answer allegations you supposedly violated Model Traffic Code Section 604, failure to obey a traffic control device. You understand that term?
Yes.
Maximum penalty is 4 points on your driving record and a possible fine as high as $2,650. Do you understand the maximum penalty? You were provided the written advisement of legal rights. Did you get a chance to read and review those rights? Do you have any questions? Feel you understand them? Know what a trial is?
Yes.
Understand you have a right to hire an attorney? I don't have any notes from anybody, so tell me what you're doing.
Apply not guilty and go for a trial.
Say that again.
Guilty and apply for a trial.
Okay. We will set you for trial for next month at,
They're better. If can be possible.
well, we already have the other one at 5:30. We'll set you at 5:45. You were not in court previously. You continued this twice from February, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So I make sure we're doing this timely. So this is the first time you've entered the plea. All right, we'll see you back here next month. Please see my court clerk for a written notice. Charles Johnson. Good evening. Good. Sir, the only offense I see alleged here is a seatbelt violation. Usually comes along with something else. You understand what seatbelt violation means? Penalty is just a fine of up to $1,000. The scheduled fine is much less. You understand the penalty? No points. You get a chance to review the right sheet. Any questions? Feel you understand? Know what a trial is? And you can hire an attorney. And it looks like the prosecutor has offered for you to plead guilty to a 1-point defective headlamp. Is that what you want to do?
Sure, Honor. Because I was getting 2 points originally, right?
Yeah.
We'll take the 1 point, Your Honor.
Okay. You're going to see by pleading guilty to the 1-point defective headlamp for giving up all the rights listed in the right sheet. No trial, no witnesses, and the prosecutor does not have to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Understood? Anybody threaten you? Anybody promise you anything? It's just your free and voluntary plea. Are you under the influence of anything? How do you plead to defective headlamp? Or accept your plea having freely, voluntarily, and knowingly made? Anything you want to tell me?
I mean, it's too much to go to trial for, but it was one of those, it was like, he tried to get me for speeding, dropped the speeding. Then he's like, you don't have a seatbelt on. I'm like, well, I took it off to give you my ID. And like, he just wasn't willing to give me any kind of budge on it. And it's like, for me to go through trial is kind of a pain, but it was just a lot, these up and down Highway 9. He was sitting in the middle of traffic. I saw him the whole way. I was never speeding. And he just threw a ticket at me. And it was just, I figured I'd come here and let you know that it's kind of tough coming through Highway 9. They're just waiting for you everywhere.
Okay. Court costs and surcharge are $55, and that's a $20 fine. It gives you back to $75 if you had just paid the ticket. Which would have been easier. The seatbelt, of course, you got a fewer points this way, so. Please see my court clerk.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Jacob McIntosh. Good evening.
Your Honor.
Sir, you were summoned to court to answer allegations you supposedly were speeding 10 to 19 over the posted limit. 54. I'm trying to read the rest of the handwriting. Yeah, you understand the charge. Maximum penalty is a fine up to $1,000 and 2,650 and 4 points on your driving record. You understand the possible penalty. Do you get a chance to read your rights? Any questions? Feel you understand? Know what a trial is? Understand you can have an attorney? I have that you wish to enter into agreement for a 2-point defective vehicle, cutting things in half. You understand by pleading guilty, you're giving up all the rights in the right sheet. No trial, no witnesses, and the prosecutor does not have to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Anybody threaten you? Anybody promise you? Is this your free and voluntary plea? Are you under the influence? Now we've covered that. How do you plead to defective vehicle?
Contest, Your Honor. I would like to ask the court if I was able to take a defensive driving course in order to take care of the citation on my record.
Unfortunately, Colorado doesn't offer that. Some other states do, like Arizona, I know does that, but we don't. So, court will accept your plea, find to be freely, voluntarily, and knowingly made. Anything you'd like to say? All right. $70 fine, 55 in court costs and surcharge, total 125. Can you afford to pay that today? Please see my court clerk. Joshua, is it Beamsendorfer? How do you say your name, sir? Okay. Good evening. Sir, you're summoned to court to answer allegations you were speeding 10 to 19 over the posted limit. Do you understand the charge? 10 to 19 is 4 points on your driving record and a fine as high as $2,650. Do you understand the penalty? Did you get a chance to read your rights?
Yes.
Any questions?
No,
Feel you understand them? Know what a trial is? Understand you have a right to an attorney? I have paperwork that says you'd like to agree to a 2-point defective vehicle. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes.
You understand if you do that, you're giving up the rights listed in the right sheet, which means no trial, no witnesses, and the prosecutor won't have to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did anybody threaten you? Anybody promise you? Is this your free and voluntary plea? Are you under the influence of anything? How do you plead to defective vehicle?
Yes.
Court accepts your plea, find to be freely, voluntarily, and knowingly made. You're entitled to make a statement and welcome to. Do you want to?
Yes, Your Honor.
Please go ahead.
I just wanted to.
I honestly thought I was going to get the opportunity to apologize to Officer Wilson. I was a little disrespectful, and I do apologize for that. Usually I like to pride myself on being respectful to any members of the law. That being said, it was just the one time I really thought he got it wrong, and so that's why I was frustrated. And I even came to also ask that it be reduced to a 1 point and $70 fine due to the 5 to 9, which is I would have agreed with him if that's what he had said, that I was under 45. And
I don't get to change the charge. The way things are divided up as far as executive branch versus judicial branch. But I appreciate that. We'll pass that on to Officer Wilson. And we all have occasional failings. $70 fine, $55 in costs and surcharge, total 125 and 2 points. Can you pay that today?
yes, Your Honor.
Please see me, court clerk.
Thanks.
This is the one on the line. Okay. Okay. Janice, is this live or you need to let them in?
They're in call.
Okay. Christopher Patrick,
Yes, Your Honor.
and your attorney should be on the line according to what I see.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Susan Dusher
Good
appeared on
afternoon.
behalf of Chris Patrick.
I don't usually see you in this court. You're usually further east than this. You wait further advisement.
Yes, Judge, and I did file with the clerk the advisement of rights that I did review with Mr. Patrick.
Okay,
Over
great.
the phone, he authorized my signature on May 19th of this year. And then we also filed a stipulation for deferred judgment and sentence on the no proof of insurance charge. The prosecutor is recommending a $700 fine on the insurance charge. However, I did provide the statute and that we are entitled to argue for half of the fine on that because of the fact that Mr. Patrick did obtain insurance that same day. He was just unaware that it had lapsed. So I provided the court with proof of the insurance on the vehicle. And then again, given that it's a split plea, Your Honor, the 6-point speeding would be amended down to 4-point 10 to 19 over the limit. And that document is also included in the packet. And again, that would be the result, that would result in a conviction. So DJS on the no proof of insurance with a $350 fine would be our argument on that. And then this goes back to July of 2024. So it was just a plea on the speeding 4-point.
Okay, I'm just looking, I see the plea on the 4-point. I'm not seeing the deferred paperwork, but give me another minute to go back through this a second time. All right, I found it. Okay, Mr. Patrick, you've heard the statements of your attorney. You understand that by pleading guilty, first of all, you understand the way a deferred works is you are expected to state a plea of guilty to that charge, but it goes into a temporary court record we call a deferred record. You satisfy and complete the conditions of the agreement, which appeared to only be not to have any other tickets, that the case would be dismissed at the end of the 12-month deferral period. On the other hand, if it's alleged at any time you have violated this, that you can, well, you would be entitled to a court hearing about whether you violated, but if it was proved you violated, then the guilty plea would become permanent and be subject to resentencing, and you would pick up those points on that ticket. Do you understand, as far as the insurance charge, how that deferred works?
I do, Your Honor.
Very good. As to the other charge, that is just a plea of guilty. But as to both of these, you understand by pleading guilty, you are giving up all the rights listed in the right sheet, which means there'll be no trial, there'll be no witnesses. Prosecutor will not have to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, and you're giving up your presumption of innocence.
I do, Your Honor.
Did anybody threaten you to get you into these agreements?
No, Your Honor.
Anybody promise you anything in addition to these agreements?
No, Your Honor.
Is this your free and voluntary plea?
It is, Your Honor.
Are you under the influence of anything that affects your ability to make a decision?
I am not, Your Honor.
Counsel, have I complied with Rule 11?
I believe so, Judge. Thank you.
Sir, now that I've completed the required questions, how do you plead to the no proof of insurance charge?
How do I plead?
Your choice is guilty or not guilty. If you're entering into the deferred, you need to plead guilty. And then
then I
that,
plead guilty.
Okay. Court will accept your plea of guilty, but defer it, finding it to be freely, voluntarily, and knowingly made. And then as to the speeding charge, how do you plead guilty or not?
Guilty.
Or accepts the plea, find to be freely, voluntarily, and knowingly made. Before I officially impose sentence, counselor, further statements on this matter?
Judge, just that Mr. Patrick was on his way to work. He works there in Summit County. Again, he did not know that the insurance had lapsed. He remedied it by immediately getting the insurance reinstated. Again, we would ask the court to impose the half fine on that, and then whatever minimal on the speeding, given that the insurance is, I think the statute is $500 if we were in county court, so half of that would be $250. I understand that the prosecutor is asking for a higher amount. So again, given that, Judge, we'd ask for whatever the court could do on minimal fines, please.
Okay. The insurance charge, oh, sir, you're entitled to make a statement besides your attorney. What would you like to say, if anything? You're not required to make a statement, but you're welcome to.
I have no statement, Your Honor.
Okay. On the insurance charge, I can understand how there can be slip-ups. And the court will impose the $250 level fine, though with the cost and surcharge, that's going to make it $305. But it's way better than $700.
Yes, Judge.
As to the speeding charge, I'm a bit concerned, Mr. Patrick, about the record I'm seeing here. I have that you have a 1-point speed in Jefferson County this year already, and a too fast for conditions in Idaho Springs. In 24, a failure to use turn signals. In 24, a careless driving, only coming in at 2 points, I guess, meaning you paid the ticket early. Is there something stressful going on in your life, like divorce or something? Because sometimes we see tickets group up when there's something like this.
Yeah, Your Honor, for the last 2 years, my mom has been in a home for advanced dementia. She passed away 2 weeks ago. It's not an excuse, but I've been putting many, many miles on commuting 62 miles. Oops, hang on. Commuting 62 miles one way to Summit County, and then driving or flying back to St. Louis on the weekends. I'm no longer working at the hospital there in Summit. So the number of miles and hours that I'm putting on the road are minimal compared to what I was doing up until a few months ago. So I don't really have an excuse, but I had been putting a considerable amount of miles and hours behind the wheel. And right now I am working from home. So my only driving is to get groceries and down to the dog park. So that's about it.
Well, you need to do better. And frankly, anytime there's a 6-point speed, I'm seeing way too many. I'm going to require at least a level 1 driving class on that. Though I don't think those are very expensive. I can't guarantee, but I think I saw those were only $60 online or something like that.
I think it's
So
about 5 hours, Judge, or if he does it through SEMA, if he does it the self-study through ISAE. I think
right.
he has
Either of
like
those are
3 days.
acceptable, but I think, sir, you could need some help with driving skills and the classes in order. Maybe this is just your emotions coming out in your foot, but we got to make sure that that doesn't happen anymore.
And Mr.
And
Patrick, before we go further, are you okay with still resolving it this way, or do you have the option to withdraw the plea because that was not contemplated?
I am okay with whatever you suggest.
Well, it's up to you. Like I said, he's ordering you to take the class. It's an addition.
I don't have a problem with taking the class, Your Honor.
all right,
Okay.
very good.
Thank you.
Um, and
60
The way-
days, Judge, to complete that class?
60 days, yes,
Okay. And then he just gets me the certificate and I'll get it to Janice.
that'll be great. I think that's July 19th or thereabouts.
60 days?
Yeah.
And then is, in lieu of the class, or because he's taking the class, Judge, then is there no fine on the speeding?
Oh, no. No, there's still a fine.
Okay.
What I will do on the fine though is, I will impose 140, but I will suspend 70. Since the class should be 60. And I won't add a second court cost, but I am required to add the surcharge of 25, so that'll be 95 on that with 70 suspended.
So it looks like a total of 400 between the two, Judge. I think you said 305 on the
Correct.
insurance. Okay.
Correct.
Mr. Patrick, can you pay that today or do you want a payment plan?
Oh, I can pay that today.
All right, I'll turn you over to my court clerk.
So that I'm clear, Your Honor, how many points on the speed?
4.
You have 4 going on your record and you have 4 being deferred.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor.
And that's a 12-month deferral.
I understand, Your Honor.
Very good.
And
Be
Judge, he
careful
just
out there.
calls Janice, is that it, or online, or?
The defendant should call the office tomorrow. I won't be in, but Tracy can help him with that payment.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you all, and thank you for allowing us to appear virtually.
Appreciate your time. Next case is Jeffrey Church. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Your Honor.
Mr. Church, you were summoned to court to answer 2 allegations. First, it's alleged you were speeding. Do you understand that charge?
Yes, sir.
Specifically 10 to 19 over, which makes it a 4-point violation and a possible fine as high as $2,650. You understand that penalty?
Yes, sir.
You were provided the written advisement of legal rights. Did you get a chance to read and review those rights?
Yes, I do.
Any questions?
No,
You feel you understand them?
yes,
Do you know what a trial is?
yes, sir.
And you understand you have a right to an attorney?
Yes, sir.
I have paperwork you wish to agree to enter into a plea to a 2-point defective vehicle. Is that what you want to do?
Yes, sir.
If you do that, you'll be giving up all the rights listed in the right sheet, which means no trial, no witnesses. The prosecutor will not have to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You're giving up your presumption of innocence and right to an attorney.
Yes, I agree.
Did anybody threaten you? Get you to plead guilty?
No,
Anybody promise you anything? Is this your free and voluntary plea?
yes, it is.
So how do you plead to the speeding? Guilty or not? Well, it's now a defective vehicle, but the court accepts your plea as to defective vehicle. The prosecutor indicated that you've provided proof of the insurance, and so that's dismissed. Court will impose a $70 fine, $55 cost and surcharge, total $125. Can you pay that?
Yes, sir.
Please see my court clerk. Roberto Marfia.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. Sir, you're summoned to court to answer allegations that you violated section 1409, no proof of insurance. Do you understand the charge?
Yes, sir.
Carries 4 points and a possible fine as high as $2,650, minimum fine of $500, though that could be reduced with mitigation. Do you understand the penalty?
Yes, sir.
Did you get a chance to read your rights?
Yes, sir.
Any questions? Feel you understand them? Know what a trial is? Understand you have a right to an attorney? Have paperwork that says you're just going to plead guilty to the charge. Is that correct? You understand if you do that, you're giving up all the rights listed in the right sheet, which means there'll be no trial, there'll be no witnesses. The prosecutor will not have to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You're giving up your presumption of innocence and right to an attorney.
Yes, sir.
Did anybody threaten you? Anybody promise you anything? Just your free and voluntary plea?
Yes, sir.
Are you under the influence of anything?
No, sir.
Now we've covered the qualifying questions. How do you plead to the charge, guilty or not? Court accepts your plea, find be freely, voluntarily, and knowingly made. What's your situation?
I'm a single dad. My
Do you have
insurance,
insurance now?
I do have insurance, but
Okay,
it just,
did you
it just
get
had
it?
lapsed.
Yeah, when did you
When
get it? Like right after or recently or?
Got it recently because my car was in the shop. I wasn't able to
Alright.
drive it.
$250 fine is best I can do, and $55 cost and surcharge, $305. Do you need a payment plan? Can you get it all paid off in 3 months or 4?
3 months.
3 months, okay. That will be by August 20th. Or appear back here to talk to me about it. Please see my court clerk. Kira Metcalf. Ma'am, you've been summoned to court on a no proof of insurance charge. Do you understand the charge? Maximum penalty is 4 points and $2,650. Minimum is $500. Do you understand the penalty? Did you get a chance to read your legal rights? Do you have any questions?
To be able to provide better, more evidence for the prosecutor.
Okay, that's fine. We'll have you back here next month. June 19th, 18th, sorry. I'm sorry, someone wrote in the court space here. Since it's not a trial, we'll see you back here at 5. Okay, please see my court clerk for a written notice. John Sexton. Good evening. Sir, you were summoned to court to answer allegations you were speeding. Do you understand the charge? It's alleged you were 10 to 19 over, which makes the penalty 4 points on your driving record and a possible $2,650 fine. Do you understand the possible penalty? You were provided the written advisement of legal rights. Did you get a chance to read and review those rights? Do you have any questions? Feel you understand them? Know what a trial is? Understand you have a right to an attorney? I don't have anything that tells me what you want to do.
Not guilty.
All right.
I would like to request a trial, non-jury trial with the officer present.
Very good. Yeah, in traffic, all you get is a non-jury trial. And I think we can set that for next month, unless there's some reason we shouldn't do 3 trials.
Your Honor, I think I saw Mr. Ippolito here, and I know that he requested a continuance from today on both of his trials. And I just wasn't sure if we're still going today or
No, I gave him his continuance. He waived speeding. Oh, I'm sorry, I've got the wrong case.
Mr. Burris. Wait,
Okay. Is he here?
Yes.
Okay. As far as I'm concerned, it's still on. He requested a continuance, which I granted if he waived speeding, and I didn't see a waiver of speeding. I guess we have to have a hearing on that because he's claiming disability.
Okay,
I don't know what the disability is.
okay. I just, for scheduling in, so I will have my officers hang around for now.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
back to your case. Set you for 6 o'clock on June 18th. All right. Let's just get a written reminder from my clerk.
Thank you.
All right, let's call that case. Janice, do I have the file or for the trial?
Mr. Ippolito is in that file directly in front of you, the manila. Those are signatures. The file in front of you.
That's in front of me. It says, okay.
Oh,
Got it.
sorry.
Oh, there's something else. Okay. Mr. Ippolito. You had requested a continuance, which the court granted. You indicated that you have some kind of handicap, but it wasn't specified. But I said you needed to waive speedy trial, and we didn't get that paperwork. So what is it you want to do?
Ready.
All right, we're not going to do that right now, but we'll do it after I take care of these other folks who are waiting. There's your answer. All right. I still can't do a trial till I do these. Mr. Montez. Looks like it's Rambo Montez? No.
Oh, Your Honor, we just need to put on the record that he showed proof of
Oh.
insurance.
All right. I see that. Justin Neller. Justin Nadler, I can almost read the handwriting. Sir, you're summoned to court to answer allegations you were speeding. Do you know what that means? It's alleged you're 10 to 19 over, which is 4 points on your driving record and a fine as high as $2,650. Do you understand the penalty?
Yes.
Did you read your rights?
Yes.
Any questions? Feel you understand them?
Yes.
Know what a trial is?
Yes.
Understand you have a right to an attorney?
Yes.
I have that you want to agree to a 2-point defective vehicle.
Yes, sir.
You understand you'll be giving up all the rights listed in the right sheet, which means there'll be no trial, no witnesses, and the prosecutor will not have to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yes, sir.
You're giving up your presumption of innocence and right to an attorney.
Yes, sir.
Did anybody threaten you? Anybody promise you anything? Is this your free and voluntary plea? Are you under the influence of anything? How do you plead to defective vehicle? Court accepts your plea, find be freely, voluntarily, and knowingly made. You're welcome to say something, but not required to. Okay. $70 fine, $55 in costs and surcharge, total $125. Can you pay it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Please see my court clerk. Omar Rodriguez. Sir, you were summoned to court for two reasons. First is that it's alleged you had no proof of insurance. Do you understand that charge? You understand the penalty is 4 points on your driving record and a fine as high as $2,650, but a fine can't be less than $500. Do you understand the penalty? The second charge is you drove a vehicle without a seatbelt. You understand that charge? That's a 2-point violation and a fine as high as $1,000. Do you understand that? Do you get a chance to read your rights? Do you have any questions? Do you feel you understand them? Do you know what a trial is? You understand you have a right to an attorney? Okay. I don't have any paperwork that tells me what you want to do.
But that's take the most amount of mercy on me. It's been hard since my kid has been born. I haven't had insurance for a minute. I've been carpooling since like about a year now. That day, it was hard for me to get a.
You're before you go too far into it. Are you pleading guilty? Okay. I have to ask a series of questions, and then you can get into what you want to tell me. You understand by pleading guilty, you're giving up all the rights listed in the right sheet, which means no trial, no witnesses, and the prosecutor doesn't have to prove anything. Did anybody threaten you to get you to plead guilty? Anybody promise you anything? Is this your free and voluntary plea? Are you under the influence of anything? Now, formally, how do you plead? Guilty? Okay. All right. Court accepts your plea, find and be freely, voluntarily, and knowingly made. Go ahead with your statement.
Well, try to take my license into consideration. It's the only way I can provide for my family. Right now, my wife is not able to provide for us. It's just me. Everything is on me. And that day, I wasn't able to get to work. It was on my own free will that I took a vehicle without insurance, and I did get pulled over because I didn't have my seatbelt, but I was not speeding. I've been trying to follow the law of the road since I've gotten my license, and I've been driving. I've been driving for the same company for 5 years. I'm really not trying to waste anything.
Okay. The best I can do is reduce this to $250 and costs and surcharge are another $55, total $305. Do you need a payment plan?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Please see my court clerk. This looks like dismissing a no proof of insurance charge for Sage Medris. Is she still here?
I told her she could leave, Your
That's
Honor.
fine.
If you don't mind on all of these, just NPOI dismissals, I'm just telling.
That's not a problem. I just.
We also had this charge.
Yeah. Andrea Finnerty. Ma'am, you were summoned to court on a no proof of insurance charge. You understand what that means? Penalty is 4 points on the driving record and a maximum fine of $2,650, minimum fine of $500, which can be cut if mitigation is shown. Do you understand the penalty? Did you read your rights? Any questions? Feel you understand them? Know what a trial is? Understand you have a right to an attorney? Paperwork says you're pleading guilty. You understand by pleading guilty, you're giving up the rights listed in the sheet, which means no trial, no witnesses, and the prosecutor doesn't have to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Anybody threaten you? Anybody promise you anything? Is this your free and voluntary plea? Are you under the influence of anything? Now I get to ask you to repeat, how did you plead? Court accepts your plea, found me freely, voluntarily, and knowingly made. You wish to make a statement?
Just ask that if for whatever fine is imposed, you'd allow me to do a payment plan. I'm a single mom on one income and just trying to get ahead after a couple months without a job and
Okay.
stay in the county.
Best I can do is cut the fine to $250, $55 cost and surcharge is $305. Normally payment plans are 3 or 4 months. I also, if you're not working, allow community service.
I have actually secured a stable job, so
Okay.
if you could just give me a month at least.
Okay. Well, you can tell my court clerk how much time you want. All right, please see her. It's Royce, is it Alinsa? Good afternoon. Sir, you're here on a charge of speeding. Do you understand the charge? It's only 1 point speeding. Also punishable by a fine of up to $1,000. Do you understand the penalty? You were provided the written advisement of legal rights. Did you get a chance to read it? Any questions? Feel you understand it? Know what a trial is? Understand you have a right to an attorney? I don't have any paperwork that tells me what you want to do.
Is there paperwork you're asking?
Normally, there's paperwork that says if you're entering a plea or asking for a trial or whatever.
Let's see.
Okay. Anything you want to, let's see, I have it. You understand you're giving up all your rights? Okay. I'm gonna keep it short to that. Anything you want to tell me?
If there is like a possibility for a reduction in the fine, that'd be greatly appreciated, but also, yeah, that's my only request.
Okay. Well, the fine is only 70. So.
I just moved out of my house out in Denver and came all the way out here and.
Yeah. If you want to do community service instead of paying the fine, but normally it's 70 and I'll waive the court costs, which are normally 30, and a surcharge I can't waive, that's by town council. So you're at 95. You can have a payment plan or you can do community service.
And I can do the payment plan through the clerk?
Yes. Okay. Can you pay it within 60 days? Okay.
July.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We have 2 matters set for trial, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. Technically 3. Mr. Polito has 2 separate citations.
Okay.
I don't know if we combine those into one or if we have to do.
We can combine them into one. They arise out of the same incident.
No, it's separate incidents on separate dates.
We can, well, we still do unless he objects.
But we are doing the speeding ticket first. The officer was nice enough to come out from Johnstown. So I promised him I'd get him out of here as fast as I could.
I was talking as fast as I could.
I can tell.
Is this Mr. Krishat?
Miss Athadage Donna.
Okay. Ma'am, are you ready to go to trial?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Are you ready to go to trial? Okay. Did she get our trial procedure handout? Okay. All right. Please have a seat at the table. Okay. Okay, so ma'am, tell me again how to pronounce your name. Thank you. Court will call a case. Any opening statement?
No, Your Honor.
Ma'am, do you have any opening statement?
I do want to get clarification on the incident happened that day and get the opportunity to get some questions.
That's what trial is for.
Yep, so that's.
Opening statements are not evidence, they're just usually an outline, but in these cases, they're short. Often we skip that, but you have a right to make one, though it doesn't count for anything. So do you wish to make a statement? Okay. First witness.
Officer Joshua Sprong, Your Honor.
Very good. As you could come forward over by one of these chairs here, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of perjury? Please be seated. Please proceed with your question.
Could you state your name and spell your last name for the record, please?
Officer Joshua Sprong, S-P-R-O-N-G.
And what is your current occupation?
Police officer with the town of Johnstown.
And for how long have you been a police officer?
I graduated from the academy June 8th of 2023.
And have you ever been employed by the Frisco Police Department?
Yeah.
And for how long was that?
Approximately a year and 11 months.
And were you employed by the Frisco Police Department on November 14th, 2024?
I was.
And were you on duty at 11:01 p.m. that day?
Yes, sir.
And do you remember what sort of duties you were performing as part of your shift?
Just routine patrol.
And what does routine patrol mean?
I'm driving around looking for criminal activity, monitoring traffic flows, a variety of different tasks related to law enforcement activities.
And did those duties include issuing traffic citations?
Yes, sir.
And did you issue any traffic citations on November 14th, 2024 on West Main Street?
Yes.
And may I ask, have you received training in the estimation of vehicular speed?
Yes, I have.
And could you describe that training?
While I was at the when I was in Cleta or Colorado Law Enforcement Training Academy with the Colorado Mountain College in Breckenridge, we received specialized training in radar use, LiDAR use, and also using that for visualizing our estimated speed, or VSE is what it's referred to, where we take estimates of what we are going with the estimated speed of a vehicle, then verifying with either radar or LiDAR.
Mm-hmm. And turning back to the date in question, November 14th, at approximately 11:01 p.m., you stated that you were monitoring traffic and issued a citation on West Main Street.
I was actually on routine patrol. I was traveling westbound on Main Street in the direction of I-70, approximately in the 400 block.
And do you know the speed limit there?
It is 25 miles an hour in that section.
Okay. And that area you described, is that in the town of Frisco?
Yeah.
And is it in the county of Summit?
Yeah.
So please continue to describe what happened.
I observed the defendant vehicle traveling eastbound after coming off of I-70 at a high rate of speed. I estimated that vehicle be traveling at approximately 45 miles per hour. I was unable to, that specific vehicle I was in does not have an equipped radar unit. LiDAR is a stationary unit only, so I was not able to use LiDAR. I turned around the vehicle, got in behind it approximately about 100 feet away, and my patrol unit has a certified calibrated speedometer in it. I monitored that my speed for approximately one block, monitoring my speed of approximately 37 miles per hour.
And have you ever had any indication that the vehicle that you were in does not accurately measure speed?
No, it was a relatively newer vehicle. Approximately maybe 3 to 4 months in service. Especially that one. I've never had any indications that speedometer's off or anything else like that.
And you mentioned following the vehicle in question. Do you recall what kind of vehicle that was?
I'd have to go back to my notes. I do not recall.
So you're
No, it's a white SUV.
and by notes, do you mean the citation?
Yes,
So if you saw the citation, you'd be able to recall the vehicle type.
yes, sir.
And that would refresh your recollection. Your Honor, I'm showing the defendant copy of the citation in this matter. May I approach the witness?
You may.
Officer Sprung, please take as much time as you need to read that over. And then when you're done, please let me retrieve it. Thank you. Is your memory refreshed? Do you recall the vehicle that you were following that evening?
It was a Toyota 4Runner, silver in color.
And you stated that you followed for about a block while you.
I paced it at approximately, I probably followed it for approximately 3 blocks up to 4. I monitored that speed for approximately 1 block.
Okay. And once you monitored the speed and kind of recognized the speed of the vehicle in front of you, what was your next step?
I initiated a traffic stop on that vehicle.
And how did you know that the traffic stop that you initiated was for the same vehicle that you had been pacing?
It was at initially the vehicle was directly in front of me. There was no changes in no vehicles got in between us or anything else like that. There was no break between that vehicle and mine.
Okay. And do you recall the driver of the vehicle saying anything to you?
She told me that she was on her way to work. She had just gotten a new job at a hotel. And I believe it was Hilton, if I remember correctly.
And do you see the driver of the vehicle whose speed you paced that evening? And could you please point that person out for the court? Please let the record reflect that Officer Sprong identified the defendant. Officer Sprong, is there anything else you wish to tell us about this incident?
No, sir.
All right, I got no further questions, Your Honor.
Ma'am, this is your opportunity to ask those questions you wanted to ask.
Thanks. So I'm referring to the incident before the vote. On the first one is the attitude, and it says good. What could I have done better to be very good?
It's just it's a classification. I very seldom do very good or anything else like that. Even people that are very rude, I still give them fair because I understand that they're going through an emotional thing. It's not a decision-making skill for me. At the time of the stop, I already had made the assessment that I was going to be issuing the ticket. There was nothing personal or anything else about it. Your attitude did not come into play on my decision-making skills.
Okay, so that it was not accurately depicted the attitude at that time?
I don't understand what you're referring to.
I'm referring to regardless of my attitude, even though you had several boxes to indicate, you picked just a regular whatever that it would be for anybody.
It would not have made any determination in my decision on this citation whatsoever.
So-
You were very professional.
I think that's accurate, this
You had a good attitude.
so what, is there anything that I could have done to be very good?
There's probably not. I mean, there was no, I don't know what, I guess I don't understand what the context of the question would be.
What I'm saying is that this was not correctly indicating my attitude because I complied with everything that you have asked for me.
Your Honor, that felt more like the defendant testifying there.
Ma'am, you have to keep your questions as to things from the witness. Also, I have, in a sense, your attitude is irrelevant legally. So,
I'll go on.
okay.
Where did you first detected or observed I was traveling in high rate? Can you identify the streets?
It would be west of, well, since I've been 4 months since I've been on the road here. Approximately 2 blocks west of Creekside.
Okay. So between Creekside and is there any way you can identify where you actually stopped me?
Probably in the, I actually initiated the traffic stop in the 0 to 100 block of East Main Street.
Okay. So between the time that you observed versus the time that I stopped, is there any stoplights?
There's actually 2 stop signs. There's one at Creekside and then there's one at Main Street.
Correct. Did I stop on all those stop signs?
I didn't, yes. Based on my observations, yes.
Okay. And I just wanted to make sure that, I was not continuously passing through, going, passing the stop signs. So I had to come to a stop and then it would be really tough for anybody to speed up to the 45 miles an hour after stopping those 2 stop signs, correct?
That is not what my testimony was.
Correct. So can you describe how did you detected that from the time that you detected or observed passing 2 stop line to the traffic stop, how my rate of speed was?
So I observed you in the 400 block of West Main Street at approximately coming the opposite direction of 45 miles per hour. That was the reason for my turning around. I caught up to you. You stopped at the Creekside stop sign. You then accelerated. You got up to what I observed and paced you at 37 miles per hour. You then came to a stop at the Main Street stop sign. At that point, I initiated the traffic stop.
So I was not going 37 miles an hour. I was slowing down each stop sign.
I don't understand the question on how you're
So
asking.
I think you do really understand the question. If you observed me going in a high rate and there are 2 stop signs between, I have to de-accelerate, not accelerate.
You decelerated, then you re-accelerated.
To the 37 miles an hour?
Yes,
Is it even possible?
very much so. It's a very common practice, unfortunately.
Okay. So the other question that I have is that, have you used radar gun before?
I have,
So why is it not used in this incident?
because that car is not equipped with a radar unit.
So is it only your unit is not equipped?
No, there's multiple units in Frisco that are not equipped with radar units. To my knowledge, this might have changed since my leaving. There was only one unit that had a radar unit installed in the vehicle.
Okay. Also, just when prosecutor was questioning you, you identified the car as a white, but then he had to give you the police report to remind, so you were not able to really identify my car. Was it a mistake, or was it you do not remember this incident?
It was a mistake. I knew it was a light colored vehicle. Silver and white at night are very similar. I did make a mistake by stating it was white. I documented as silver on the citation due to what the registration had shown.
Without the incident report, without the information that was given to you, were you able to recall the incident at all?
Not immediately. Well, not the, I remember the incident. I knew it was a light colored SUV.
Yeah. So is there any way that this report is inaccurate?
No.
I don't have any question.
Can you redirect? Excuse me, can I redirect?
I guess I'll just ask one question. Approximately how long after the traffic stop did you draft the citation / incident report?
The case notes would have been done same day.
Okay, thank you.
About that question.
No.
Okay, you may step down.
Yes, sir.
West?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Ma'am, the people are arrested. You have the option to produce witnesses, but are not required to. You have the option to testify, but you're not required to. Do you have any witnesses you wish to produce?
I do.
Do you wish to testify? You do not. Okay. That's perfectly within your right. You do understand the only evidence court can consider is that it comes from sworn testimony of the witnesses. Okay. Closing.
I don't have any, Your Honor. Thank
Ma'am,
you.
anything you want to say?
I do feel like this this incident is not accurately documented, and questioning, and the officer was not able to recognize my car without giving the recollection of the paperwork. At the same time, even though I complied with everything, all the requirements, it was not accurately depicted in here, as well as it did not state that I did de-accelerate in this stop sign. So this incident is not accurately depicted. So that's how I feel about that.
Okay. The only testimony that the court has is the testimony of the officer. And while I understand how, ma'am, that you feel it didn't accurately record your attitude, he indicated that in general, he just doesn't use extra adjectives in describing people's attitudes. And it's of no consequence to the charge. And he said you were very professional. As to the incident itself, he indicated these are contemporaneous notes made that day, that he remembered the events that happened, and that he did remember the pacing and did say you stopped at the stop signs, but that he also maintained that between those stop signs, he paced you at the 37 miles an hour. And given that's the only testimony I have, I am required to find you guilty of speeding 10 to 19 over. Anything from the people about sentence?
No, Your Honor, I'll just echo what Officer Spong said, and that the defendant has been nothing but professional and nice with me whenever I've interacted with her.
Ma'am, anything you want to say about the sentence? Okay. Court will impose $70 fine $55 in cost and surcharge, total $125. You do have the right to appeal my decision today to the District and Appellate Courts of Colorado within 35 days of today's decision. Otherwise, you see my court clerk and either pay or make payment arrangements. All right, moving on to the next case. You ready? You said indicate you're ready to proceed. Any reason we can't hear all the testimony at once?
Let's get to it, Your Honor.
All right. Any opening statement? First, the prosecutor.
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Thanks for driving all the way.
I did want to thank Officer Sprong.
I'm sorry. We talked over the top of you, so I didn't.
I'm sorry. No, I have nothing, Your Honor.
No statement. Mr. Ippolito, opening statements are not evidence, but you're entitled to make one.
Your Honor, I respectfully contest the charge brought against me for the alleged camping tickets within the town limits. On the date in question, I was not camping, residing, sleeping in the area. I was sitting in a parked vehicle beneath a custom-built canopy of my own design. I was engaged in a recreational activity, playing video game on a personal device. At no point was I using camping equipment, bedding, cooking gear, or any other items associated with habitation or overnight stays. The canopy in question is a personal invention I intended for comfort, warmth, and shade, not for sheltering overnight. I was not attempting to live in that area, in that space, nor was I violating other town ordinances. Oh, Your Honor.
Thank you. First witness.
The people will call Officer Elias Brown, Your Honor.
You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of perjury. Please be seated.
Officer Brown, could you state your first and last name and spell your last name for the record?
BROWN.
And Officer Brown, are you currently employed?
Yes.
And in what capacity?
I am employed as a police officer for the Town of Frisco Police Department.
And for how long have you been employed as an officer for
I've
Frisco?
been a police officer for 17 and a half years. I've been employed with the Town of Frisco for this duration since September of 2024.
And were you employed by the Town of Frisco on February 6th, 2025?
Yes, sir.
And did you work on that day?
Yes, sir.
And do you recall what shift you worked that day?
Yes. I was on day shift.
And were you working at approximately 3:35 p.m. that afternoon?
Yes, I was.
And do you recall what you were doing?
Yes, I was conducting routine patrol in the area of Summit Boulevard and North 10 Mile Drive.
And did those duties include issuing any citations?
Yes.
And at that time, at approximately 3:35 on February 6th, did you issue a citation?
Yes, I did. I issued a citation for camping in a public space.
And why would you do that?
I did that at the trailhead for the Willow Preserve, which is a town-owned property in the area of North 10 Mile Drive and Lake Point Drive in the town of Frisco, Summit County, Colorado.
And is that you mentioned town-owned, but is it a town park?
Yes, it's the Willow Preserve is actually a trail system on town open space.
Okay. And could you go further into what you observed as you made your way to the Willow Preserve?
Yes, so actually, earlier that day, I had observed a blue tent mounted on a large off-road style wagon, parked or positioned in the handicap space of the Willow Preserve trailhead. And throughout the day, I kind of monitored it to see if that wagon slash pin combination would move. At approximately 3:35 p.m., I observed it had not moved, and I initiated contact with a subject inside of that tent or camping on that public space.
And how did that contact go?
I approached the wagon along with my partner, Officer Hornick of the Frisco Police Department, and verbally identified myself as Officer Brown with the Frisco Police Department and contacted a male inside of the tent.
And the male inside the tent, do you see him in the courtroom today? And could you please point at him for us?
He's sitting here to my left in a Goodfellas t-shirt.
Let the record reflect the officer identified the defendant.
So reflect.
Officer Brown, once you made this contact, did you do anything else other than issue the citation?
Yes, I did. I feel that it's pertinent to note that I made the contact. The male, Mr. Ippolito, was actually inside of the tent and had to unzip the tent to speak with me. He refused to exit the tent, and I informed him that it's, again, town ordinance to camp in a public space and that he was blocking the handicap parking stall of the trailhead. Mr. Ippolito became verbally argumentative, was very profane towards me. Over the course of approximately 20 to 25 minutes, I issued him a summons at the end of that contact for camping.
And you mentioned the use of the handicap space. Could anyone have parked there?
No, no one could have parked in that handicap space or utilized that parking space to access the trailhead.
And did the defendant, or the person you contacted who you've identified as the defendant, did they provide you with a handicap sticker or any sort of handicap documentation?
No, obviously the Mr. Ippolito was not present in a motor vehicle at that point, but had essentially set up a campground with a wagon, tent, and various belongings consistent with the campground in that handicap parking space.
And is there anything else you'd like the court to know about the incident on the 6th?
Okay.
Then I have no further questions for you at this time. Thank you.
Cross-examination.
So Officer Brown, in your profession as a police officer, does that involve inventing or building any items like cars and wheels and stuff you put together? Is there any way that there could be a misunderstanding of invention? You know, someone's thought and heart put into a design, not a camping invention.
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
Let me reiterate this question. In all the time you've been a police officer, have you ever seen anyone invent something that took other objects and made them into one?
I mean, throughout my personal life, I've observed products made from various parts to create a new invention.
Do you know there's a process in inventing, like testing these objects out and using these inventions?
I believe that process is called prototyping.
Yes. So if one is to prototype in a town that has a camping ordinance and there is a similarity to the camping equipment that is used to use in the invention, but not as a placement, can that be misunderstood by the police department?
No, I think that the definition of camping is understood to be occupying a tent for the purposes of shelter in an area. So whether or not there's a prototype related to the field of camping, utilizing that prototype in a manner consistent with camping would still be defined as camping in my law enforcement opinion.
Well noted. when you approached the scene, what did you see? The first thing you saw?
The first thing I saw was a blue tent that appeared to be set up on top of a large off-road style wagon.
Was there any objects outside of the tent?
Yeah, there were belongings outside of the tent. I couldn't testify specifically what they were, but it appeared to be object consistent with that of a campsite.
Okay. So if you cannot testify to the court and we cannot be accurate in defining what was actually camping and what was not camping and what was a prototype in my theory, did you ever see a sleeping bag out there?
Well, as I said, I approached the tent, which was in a fully constructed position with you inside of that tent. I never looked inside the tent, so I couldn't see if there was a sleeping bag inside the tent. However, the positioning of the tent over the course of the day, along with the presence of you inside that tent with it fully zipped up, led me to believe that there was camping occurring inside that tent.
Well, Your Honor, I don't have any further questions.
Court has a question for both.
Okay.
You keep saying, no, for the officer.
Sure.
You keep saying a wagon. What kind of object you're talking?
You can see right here, Your Honor, if you'd like to come take a look at my invention.
What kind of objects were on the ground?
Is a wagon. I just want to make sure it's not a station wagon.
Oh, no, it's not. No, it's a whole wagon with large oversized, like a oversized radio flyer wagon. You're welcome.
I've been referred to Dennis the Menace before.
Okay. Nope. Any redirect? Okay. Next witness, you may step down. Thank you.
I call Officer Hornick, Frisco PD.
Testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of perjury. Please be seated.
Officer Hornick, could you please state your first and last name record and spell your last name?
First name is Marson, last name is Hornick. Spell it Hornik.
And are you currently employed?
Yes, sir.
And in what capacity?
As a police officer for the town of Frisco,
And how long have you worked for the town of Frisco?
since August of 2024.
And were you employed by the town of Frisco on February 12th, 2025?
Yes, sir.
And I just, for clarification's sake, you just heard a lot of testimony from Officer Brown about an incident that occurred on February 6th, 2025. Were you there that day?
Yes, I was.
I'm not going to ask you questions about that date just to avoid confusion. I'm looking at February 12th, 2025. You were employed on that day.
Yes,
by
sir.
the town of Frisco. And were you on duty?
Yes, sir.
And do you recall what shift you worked?
I believe I was a flex shift, which is like 11 to 9.
So were you on duty at approximately 2:25 in the afternoon that day?
Yes, I was.
And what would that have entailed?
Conducting routine patrol, responding to calls.
And during that routine patrol, did you issue any citations?
Yes, sir.
And did you issue any citations at the Willow Preserve Trailhead?
Yes, I did. I issued a camping citation.
And may I first ask you, the Willow Preserve Trailhead, is that town-owned property?
That is correct.
And is it open space?
That is correct.
And is it in the town of Frisco?
Yeah.
And is it in the county of Summit? Please explain to the court what occurred on 2/25 on February 12th.
So while conducting routine patrol, I observed in the handicap spot of the Willow Preserve parking lot, a wagon that belongs to Mr. Ippolito that we contacted 6 days prior with the tent set up. So I informed Officer Brown, which was working the same day. He met me at the Target parking lot. I pre-filled out a citation for camping for Mr. Ippolito due to the fact that I know that Mr. Ippolito gets escalated at times and verbally aggressive with us when we contact him, to avoid any of that. I then contacted Mr. Ippolito. He was standing outside. He had a heater on the floor with all of his camping belongings. The tent was not set up that day, but it was still on side on top of his wagon.
And was this in a handicap parking spot?
Yes.
And is this in the same parking spot that Officer Brown referenced?
I believe there's only one handicap parking spot in that lot, and that was the one that he was in on the 6th and the 12th.
And on the 12th, you may recall in Officer Brown's testimony, he spoke to kind of seeing the setup earlier in the day and then coming back later. Did that occur here? Did you see any camping prior, or did you just show up on your patrol?
I do not believe I observed it throughout my shift. I just contacted him once I observed it happen.
And are there any signs or I don't know, maybe something on the pavement, anything that would indicate that the area in question is designated for camping?
Can you repeat the question?
When you go to the Willow Preserve trailhead and the parking lot, is there any signage that indicates that you're supposed to be camping there?
No.
Is there anything else you'd like to let the court know about the? Oh, well, actually, let me ask you one more question. You mentioned that you arrived that day and you issued a citation. Do you see the person that you issued the citation to? And let the record reflect that the officer has pointed to the defendant and identified him as the person receiving the citation. Officer Hornick, I have no further questions for you unless you have anything else you'd like the court to know.
No, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cross-examination. Mr. Hornick. I'd like to start with, when you approached the camp or the alleged campsite that you called, what was on the ground? This would be on the 6th, Your Honor.
You're talking about
The 6th, the very first incident.
I can't remember what items we had on the ground, but there was a few items on there. But our main concern was the fact that your blue tent was upright. You were in it. You refused to get out or show your hands while we contacted you.
In that time period, did you see any boltings that attached this blue tent you consider a tent? And it could be mistaken as a part of that cart?
Did I see any boltings?
Yeah, like something to bind it down.
I'm not 100% certain because I wasn't looking to see if your tent was binded to the wagon.
You've been an officer for how many years?
Approximately 3.
So you've seen a lot of things. Have you ever seen anything like that before? So would that still be considered camping if it is not in that category of camper?
I have never seen, as you call it, your invention, with a wagon and a tent on top. I've never seen that. Have I seen a tent before? Yes.
I think we all have,
Yeah.
your officer. Is there a spot that classifies something like that on your ticket board? Does it give you a place where you can actually check off the box, gorilla cart camping?
No, sir.
Hey, I had a question. One of our misunderstood situations, I was telling you I was disabled and I tried pointing to my stab wound in the back of my head. And as the court wants paperwork, did you see the stab wound in the back of my head?
I have a scar on the back of your head, yes. Do I know what it's from? I do not.
And wouldn't somebody who's testing out a camping invention or whatever you guys call it, I call it a traversable device that goes off road. But in that disabled area, wouldn't that be something that someone has a stab wound would go to seek an area of comfort?
So a handicap spot, to my knowledge, is two vehicles that have handicap placards that they get through the government, providing some type of paperwork to receive that placard.
Understand and noted. So on the 12th, when you didn't see the apparatus or the sheltering invention, how is it that someone can issue a ticket then? If there is camping equipment like heaters and stuff like that, how can one, as an officer, prescribe a ticket to somebody, if it's just out and about?
Because you were contacted on the 6th with your tent up, and then 6 days later, you were still in the same spot.
So you would say there was two different instances, one where it was up and one where it was down.
Right. Had your camping equipment with you in the area, and some of it was on the ground, which included the heater.
It's very understandable. Moderate to hot, what would you call our instance when we contacted each other?
Like our interaction?
Yeah, good cop, bad cop kind of situation.
We, as officers, we approach you, and then things just get escalated. We try to talk to you calmly, explain stuff, and then you get verbally aggressive towards us. And we, like the last instance, you got very verbally aggressive on the 12th. I asked if you would like the SMART team to come talk to you. You did not want to answer. You kept yelling, so we walked away from the scene, but not causing more escalation.
In your training as a police officer, did you take reverse psychology training where an instance would occur if someone would be passive, would just allow a ticket to happen? Or could you see purposeful event in that situation where I purposely escalated that situation to get the reward, which was truth out of both of you? Could you have seen that?
No.
There was no provoking nature on either one of the officers' side? You didn't see anything like that? All right, Your Honor, I'm done.
Court question. This is the trailhead opposite the Wendy's gas station?
Correct. So it's so you have Taco Bell,
Yeah.
the Exxon, and then it's that right on that.
I walk past it all the time.
It's my favorite spot, Your Honor. I mean, I'm a bird watcher, so the ducks, the herons.
Okay, did that cause any questions by anybody else?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
No, Your Honor.
You may step down.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Any other witness?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Sir, you are entitled to, but you are not required to, present witnesses if you choose to. You also may testify or not testify at your own choosing, but are not required to. Do you have any witnesses you wish to present?
Your Honor, I failed the deadline. I was unable to get everything in line, so I do not.
Do you wish to testify?
I plead the fifth.
Okay. I'm required to give you what's called a Curtis warning named after the People versus Curtis case. You understand that you have an absolute right to not testify. You understand the people have the burden of proof to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, overcoming your presumption of innocence. And you may, if you choose, simply argue they've not proved their case without testifying. You have that option. Understood? It is also law that your failure to testify does not imply wrongdoing, but the counter principle is also the court can only consider the evidence before it, and the only evidence is the sworn testimony of the witnesses. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
You understand that if you give up your right to remain silent, that once you give it up, you cannot re-invoke it. That is, we don't make you ask yourself questions. You'll get to make a statement under oath, but then you are subject to cross-examination questions from the prosecutor. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And if the first three questions you don't have a problem answering, but you don't like the fourth question and you want to reassert your right to remain silent, you cannot. Is that understood?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. You also are subject to what's called impeachment, that is, be asked about prior similar offenses or other types of impeachment evidence. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, I have to ask counsel, do you think I've complied with Curtis?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now that you understand all those implications, do you still wish to testify?
No, yeah.
Okay. It wasn't my object to take you out of it, but I'm required to go through those steps.
You gotta go through the hoops.
So, all right, you do not wish to testify. Okay. You had earlier offered to view your wagon. Is there any objection to the court taking a view?
No, Your Honor. Only with the understanding that the tent may or may not be up in the wagon.
It goes up, it goes down.
I just want to have a perception.
You might have seen it on the way in, Your Honor, but I'm pretty proud of my invention.
I actually
And I
saw
know
it.
the police department. So that's the bike and it's attached to the car. And then when I would like to get some privacy with the video game, I'll pop it on the.
Do you want to picture that for the record?
I don't need it, Your Honor. I like our testimony.
Try to cover all the bases there. Okay. The court has taken a view. All right, any rebuttal? Actually,
I have no closing argument, Your Honor, other than, I rely on the officer's testimony. And I think they've said more than enough to prove the charge issue.
Closing argument, sir.
Yes. As you saw, my interrogation tactics with the police officers, I was just attempting to prove that there could be a misunderstanding between law, like a gray area, Your Honor. That's what I was kind of attempting to get to, that anyone would see camping and just write a ticket. So in that aspect, I would really like to conclude as I was just playing video games, looking out at my area, enjoying the weather. And that's all I have to say, Your Honor.
I appreciate the brevity. I may have to go to the car to get my glasses for this. You have your readers. The Frisco ordinance, which I've had here a minute ago. States. It is unlawful for any person to camp or stay overnight in any town park, open space property, or recreation area except in an area designated for such use. Without the code providing a more detailed definition, courts are allowed to look to common usage, including dictionary usage, and to use camp, so you can find camping. Now, the definition of camp, according to Merriam-Webster's Collegiate Dictionary 10th edition, is to make camp or to occupy a camp, to live temporarily in a camp or outdoors, often used with camp out, to take up one's quarters, to take up one's position, settle down, to put into a camp. See also accommodate. And there's not a specific camping, but that would just be the nominative, would be the adverb, right? It's clear, sir, that you are occupying a space at an open space property belonging to the town. It also is clear that you're in a handicapped space. What the court finds compelling about the first incident was the unrefuted testimony that you had to unzip the tent, or I think you called it a canopy, in order to come out and engage in conversation with the officers. I think a zipped up canvas cloth plastic, whatever material it's made out of device makes that a tent, and you staying there makes that camping. So therefore, as to that first incident, I would find you guilty. Since there's unrefuted testimony, there's also, while non-specific testimony about items on the ground, it was said those items were consistent with camping. Court finds further support for that. As to the second incident, again, there was material surrounding, even if the canopy tent device was not up, and again, in the same spot. So therefore, I'm going to find you guilty of that one also. Any requests on sentence?
Your Honor, since the two incidents involved a handicap space, I'm wondering if I'd like to request some sort of order barring similar behavior at the location in question.
Sir, are you working?
No, Your Honor.
You have a permanent residence?
No, Your Honor.
You have a post office box?
No, Your
Do you have
Honor.
a phone?
No, Your Honor.
Do you have an email?
Your Honor, the defendant emailed me many times over the course of the last month. In fact, some emails at 4 a.m, some at 1 p.m. So I do have to say, I'm positive the defendant has an email.
Sir, would you like to change your statement?
Your Honor, I am out of Malta. I'm not allowed to use these technological devices that you're forcing me to come to court. I have to go to the library and use an email address, but do I choose to have one? No.
Your Honor.
I choose not to have a phone. I choose not to have any of
I
these
understand.
contacts.
Hang on.
This is my religious practice, to be completely disconnected from the society.
That's fine. Enough said. You have emailed to the prosecutor.
Yes, and I have.
The emails are printed out.
That's fine.
And Your Honor,
It's
It's my right to not have an email or not be contacted by any of you.
I've heard enough.
Oh,
It doesn't matter. It affects what my sentence is going to be, though. Court will issue an order that whatever invention you have now or may have in the future is prohibited from using handicap parking spaces within the town of Frisco anywhere. It is specifically ordered by way of court injunction or sentence that if you seek to use any of the open spaces, parks in Frisco, that there should not be any kind of equipment, period, within 100 yards of the entrance of whatever open space or park that is. Then there will not be room for confusion. I am going to order that you perform 8 hours of community service. And you can do that at any charity, 501c3 recognized by the government, FERC. If you don't want to do it in the area, you can do it in Denver, wherever, at Goodwill, Salvation Army, any of those places, anything that's a charity. And I will give you 90 days to get that done. That's by August 20th of this year. If you've not turned in proof of that, and that proof comes directly from the charity, not from you.
I learned that.
And my court clerk can explain the details on that. If you haven't got it done by August 20th, come back and see me on August 20th and we'll discuss it. So August 20th is your deadline. Either finish the 8 hours or appear here on August 20th. Is that clear?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So you have to do one of those two things or a warrant would issue if you don't.
you guys that I don't want. That's all I'm saying is that because I live a different way, it's kind of hard for the courts to contact me and do these things, but I did it. I did it for you guys.
I'm not worried about your emails.
Shuffled the way you guys wanted me to shuffle.
Email. What I am worried about, sir, is the job here is that the other citizens of Frisco have a right to have a quiet enjoyment of their parks and their facilities. And by you having your invention or other equipment there intimidates other people from the free use of their property. It's like the old, you may have heard the old expression, the right to swing your arm ends before it hits my nose.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, your invention being at the entrance to the open space park is you've hit somebody's nose. And therefore I'm moving the length of your arm back from any entrance. You know, there's lots of national forests. You know, the rules of national forests, there is free camping in certain areas and no camping in other areas, but there's lots of Forest Service. The court's well aware that there are about 5 other towns out in the national forest, but that's the Forest Service problem.
Actually go up there. It's pretty awesome. But people died from the water consumption, uranium in the water or something.
Sure. So clear what you need to do?
Yes, Your Honor.
Clear.
8 hours by.
8 hours by August 20th.
And
Pretty
don't go to any
easy.
parks.
Right. You can use the parks,
But
but don't take that. I don't think I can prohibit you from using the park. But I can prohibit your camping equipment and your camping from being there.
I just wish I could have been more prepared for you all. This would have been much more fun.
All right. So that being said, I am required to advise you that you have the right to appeal my decision to the district and appellate courts of Colorado within 35 days of my decision today by filing the appropriate paperwork with those other courts. That concludes the matter.
Thank you, Your Honor.
We are adjourned. I should have brought them in.
I'm gonna have to bring extra readers for it.
No, I could go out to the car, you know.
That green, that's me, your signature.
Okay. Well, then give me the pen
Green
back.
stuff.
Give me the pen back.
Very needy this evening.
Here, here.
Probably.
Are we off?